Fresh out the box.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Fresh Out, the podcast, the greatest podcast on earth. I am the board game guru and game master extraordinaire, Jahananan.
And I am the professional media and movie mastermind, the Funhouse Drew Munhausen, and this is episode 133 of Fresh Out, the podcast, where we have, I know, right? Yeah, it's crazy. We have a lot of updates to talk about, and this is kind of we talked about all the news out of San Diego Comic-Con recently, and the advantage for Disney is now they do this D23 expo that they do. I think it's on like every other year. I don't think it's consistently every year, but it's almost like their own little Comic-Con, but for all things Disney, right? And so now they can kind of split their announcements between Hall H at Comic-Con and what they're going to announce at D23. Comic-Con, of course, is where they typically do like the Marvel stuff and some Star Wars here and there and so on and so forth. And D23 is like, here's where we can do all the crazy Disney announcements, right? Like Disney Entertainment and animation and the parks news and whatnot. And so it's just like 3 days of just Disney overload. Which, of course, this year they had a lot to announce. So I figured it might be fun to kind of go through some of those things. Were you following any of this news over the weekend, Jahan?
Yeah, it's hard to miss. I mean, a lot of it's popping up on TikTok. Like, even if you don't want to see it, you're going to see it. But yeah, I saw quite a bit of this, and a lot of exciting things were happening. It's some stuff that's pretty meh, but
yeah, and there's an overall theme of things here that I'll get to in a minute. First off, we're not going to go through any of the park stuff, right? I find that stuff to be fascinating. I am on theme park TikTok and whatnot.
Me too. I'm a huge theme park guy. Like one of my favorite genres of video games is theme park designers, and I used to want to design roller coasters when I was younger. So like I love it, man. I wanted to be a Disney Imagineer so bad when I was younger. But
would have been a really cool career, and anytime they have like Imagineering documentaries and stuff that they put on Disney Plus, I'm all about that stuff. I love watching it. It's just so much news that gets into the weeds of their parks all over the world for this podcast that I'm not going to touch it. But how about of the news, before we go through a few things, highlights for you? Anything that was announced that you're particularly excited about?
Moana 2, exciting. I love Moana as one of my favorite Disney movies, definitely of the modern age. Moana 2 looks pretty solid. I was surprised by The Incredibles 3, and I'm excited for that. And then, they keep ending Toy Story and then not ending it, and I wish I was mad about it, you know what I mean? But I'm not, because I just want more Toy Story, and they know that, and I'm happy about it, so...
I think the thing that I was very surprised by and now in turn super excited for is Star Wars Skeleton Crew.
Okay.
Just the fact that all I've been asking for is some different Star Wars stuff. Like, show me new stuff, show me different stuff, show me different themes, show me different tones. And we've come close with some of the shows, but they're still tying the shows into, the existing canon and what we know, or the expanded animated universe, or whatever it may be. And even with the Acolyte, I kind of championed that show for the first couple of episodes because I was into it, and then I felt like that show had some really high highs, because the one episode with a lot of action, I think it was like the 5th or 6th episode, was incredible, but then it was kind of back to meh after that. And that show just went very up and down. And but Skeleton Crew, from the trailer, I'm like, I love coming of age stories. I love just the themes and what we saw here in the tone, and seeing the Star Wars suburbs and seeing these kids, and hope with kids it's hit and miss, right? If they're like annoying kid actors or if they're cool. And I'm hoping that this is going to be fun. And but just from what we've seen, I'm very excited for it. And Jude Law in Star Wars, I just find to be intriguing. Also, I don't know, man. I just thought this looked really good, and I'm kind of unreasonably excited for it now.
Yeah, I have a different opinion about. I just watched Chiller recently.
Oh
no! So I'm sorry, Drew.
Oh no!
But
tell me I'm stupid. Do it. I dare you.
You're stupid. No, I mean, you're not stupid. Everything you said is right, and I hate every bit of it. because of what you said. Like all the points that you're like, this is awesome. I'm like, that's stupid. Like, I like coming of age stories. I do like that. This reminds me of movies I watched when I was a kid, of like kids getting alien messages and making spaceships and going out into space. You know, like it's got that vibe, and I like that.
It feels like it's trying to be Star Wars Goonies for sure.
It
which
is.
I mean, there is an audience for that. And
There
that audience
is.
is me, I guess.
But what I watched was not Star Wars. It was, I mean, and you know, to your point, you know, yeah, it is very different, and you wanted something different. I just think it might be a step too far, and it just it was unrecognizable to me as Star Wars.
Okay.
And like, you know, like the suburbs and stuff, like I'm like, what's that? Like the only cities that would be that advanced, in my opinion, is, I don't know. Like I got real into it, and I know that I don't want to be a big nerd about it and be like, that doesn't make sense according to the population density versus advanced technology measurements that you would find in the high. You know, I don't want to analyze it like that. It just it was unrecognizable to me as Star Wars, but I mean, you know, it could be good. I'm sure for what it is, it could definitely be an entertaining show. And it looks like it's more geared towards a younger audience anyways. So, like, I'm not the target audience, but...
Yeah, I think that's the thing with it that's going to be interesting is I'm like, is this going to be a kids show with Jude Law, or is it going to be for adult audiences too? And I think that's going to be what makes or breaks it. Like if it can still be fun or have cool things for adults, because like obviously with these kids, it's probably not going to be super violent. Yeah. You know, it's going to be for kids. So I guess more so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm interested in it though. I got hyped by that trailer just because I was really curious what this thing was going to be. And as of right now, it looks like it's going to be something that I'm interested in. You mentioned Moana 2, and I just have to say about this.
Yeah, shit on something I like now.
Know. Huh?
Shit on something I like now, yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm with you on this, surprisingly. I was worried about this movie before because it was a Disney Plus series, or was intended to be a Disney Plus series that they've now decided to be a movie, and they're releasing it, and this will get into the overall theme that I'm going to go with right after this, but Moana 2 looks good, and I feel like they must have confidence in what the show was going to be in order by making it into a movie.
Yeah.
But I know that you and Gary, when he was on the show, would give me a hard time when I would throw out the dad card. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to throw out the dad card for a couple of reasons, right? A, this is the first movie that my 4.5-year-old daughter I think in her life has been actively anticipating.
Ooh,
she loves going to the movies. Yeah, she loves going to the movies. I've taken her to many movies at this point. Like she's probably been to the movies 8 times or so. I mean, pretty much if there's like a big animated movie out now, we'll go see it. But she watches Moana all the time and they've released the stats. It's like the most streamed movie ever. It's like Disney Plus's all-time most streamed movie because kids just watch it on repeat. It's playing at everybody's house all the time if you have children. And so Gwen loves it. I've showed her the trailer, the first teaser that they did for Moana 2, and she is actively interested in almost every week or every other week will ask me, when do we get to go see Moana 2? And I have to tell her, not till November.
That's adorable.
Thanksgiving.
That's adorable.
Well, then on top of that, you get this new trailer that's out, and it introduces that Moana now has a younger sister. And I'm like, oh no, because I just had my second child this year.
Yep.
Another little girl. So my daughter Gwen, who's excited for this movie, now has a younger sister also. And I'm like, oh, this is just hitting all of the girl dad chords for me. And like I showed this new trailer to my daughter and almost teared up at her watching it just because of like how excited she was for it. Man, I know that this is super lame, but you're gonna experience it soon too.
I can't make fun of you for much longer. November I'll be a father too, so you know.
Yeah, so that probably means you won't be seeing this one in theaters, most likely.
Nope.
I will be, and I am really, really anticipating this movie, but not necessarily for myself, but for her. So,
No, man, that's a
yeah,
huge
I'm
deal. Like,
excited.
it takes kids have to reach a certain level of awareness to be able to look forward to something like that, and that's a huge developmental leap, and that's really exciting, man.
Yeah. So now take all that emotion out of it and let's look at what this is, right? And what I just said, Moana, one of the most streamed movies ever. You know, Disney Plus's most streamed movie. And Disney, who we've talked at length on this show over the past couple years, having a little bit of a rough go at the box office, considering they absolutely dominated it pre-COVID. 2019 was an insane year where they had multiple billion-dollar grossers, and like 2023 and 2022 were rough years for Disney at the box office. The Marvel movies were kind of starting to underperform compared to what they were doing pre-pandemic. Pixar couldn't get a win. You know, we were in dark times for Disney box office. Now, granted, Inside Out 2 has done gangbusters and made over $1 billion and is now one of the 10 highest grossing movies of all time. It's the highest grossing Pixar movie of all time, so that's a big deal. Deadpool and Wolverine just crossed the $1 billion mark, so Disney now has $2 billion movies under their belt this year, and you know, we'll have to see how Moana 2 does and how even Mufasa does. I don't think Mufasa is gonna do that well. But we'll see. We'll see. The first Lion King live action movie did do well. So I just don't know what the market is for Mufasa. Anyways, that being said, looking at the slate of all the movies that they announced and what they have going on this year or the upcoming years, is it feels like they're rolling with sure bets now. Moana 2, it's going to do big numbers at the box office, period. Incredibles 2 made over $1 billion at the box office. What did we get announced? Incredibles 3. Toy Story 4 made over $1 billion at the box office. We're getting a 5th Toy Story. The Frozen movies, tons of money at the box office. We're getting Frozen 3. It's not coming until 2027, but we're getting Frozen 3, and they teased Frozen 4.
Oh, jeez.
Zootopia did great. Zootopia 2. It's all sequels. We're getting all sequels, and what I would consider to be, you know, quote unquote sure bets. It seems like that's what they're pivoting to, is what are we absolutely positive is going to do big numbers at the box office, and that's what we're going to release.
I don't know, man.
So,
they're trying to retrain audiences to expect great things, probably, because there's been so much crap coming out, and they're probably just going with the sure stuff to get people to try the other stuff in the future, maybe. That'd be what I would think.
and I know it's kind of a cynical take, too, of like what I'm saying, but I mean, it's just, I don't know, like, there's a Pixar movie that they talked about called Elio, and Elio was supposed to come out this summer. And they ended up delaying it a year. They put Inside Out 2 in the spot where Elio was supposed to come out, and they pushed it to Elio to next year. I don't think that had anything to do with production. I don't think it had anything to do with the quality of the movie. I think that they were like, this movie's going to come out and bomb at the box office just because it's a Pixar original. You know, we don't know how excited people are going to be for it. Let's put Inside Out 2 in that spot instead. It did big numbers, was a big hit. It gets people back on the side of Pixar. Now they have a little bit more leniency to release an original movie that hopefully may do better because people want to go see Inside Out too.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know, man, but they have Zoe Saldana in this movie, and she's in all of the top grossing movies ever. So, like, that's probably going to work in their favor with Elio. But yeah, no, I definitely noticed all the sequels.
Point. She's a good luck charm.
She really is, man. She's in multiple billion-dollar movies, and it's crazy. But yeah, a lot of sequels. stuff to look forward to, though. I don't know. Some of it does look good. I am actually excited. Like, the Sure Bet thing's kind of paying off because I'm like, oh man, I like these. Like, these are exciting.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like I'm not even saying it all is a bad thing because
Yeah.
some of these are things I'm excited for. Like Incredibles goes on the Mount Rushmore of Pixar movies for me. So I liked Incredibles 2. I'm excited for Incredibles 3. Like I'm gonna see all of these movies. Toy Story 5 also. Like I thought Toy Story 4 was great. I thought Toy Story 3 was great. The first two are like the ones that really mine because they're the ones I grew up with. But I think 3 and 4 were great. And even though 4 really wrapped up this story, and now we're getting 5, and it raises a lot of questions of like, how's Woody going to reunite with the gang here? What are they going to do?
Yeah.
I hope that they have some good ideas and are creative, but it looks like the theme they're going with here is like the toys versus tech, and iPads and battling screen time and
Yeah, I
so
saw
on and
all
so
the
forth,
toys
so-
watching the kid under the sheets playing with an iPad at night, and they're like, "What's he doing?" Like, that's pretty funny to me. I don't know. I feel like that's. I don't know. I have a lot of fear of my kid being an iPad kid, and so like I don't know. This is. I look forward to watching this.
Yeah, yeah. The only other things that I am cynical about are these, these live action adaptations of Disney animated movies.
Yep.
They did a little teaser for Lilo and Stitch, just so it shows like a live action Stitch bust through the screen, and it looks like Stitch, but he's, a computer animated version, for live action purposes, and looks like Stitch. That's all they really showed. But they did release the first teaser for the Snow White movie that's starring Rachel Zegler. Did you watch this trailer, Jahan?
Yeah, I saw it.
It's okay if you say no.
I saw it.
Okay. I thought this looked like absolute garbage. Like I thought this looked terrible. I think like it looks almost more CG than the live action Lion King movies and the Mufasa movie.
Yeah.
I just think it looks gross. I love Rachel Zegler. Like I actually really like her as a young star. I loved her in West Side Story. That Shazam sequel's a bad movie, but she's like the one good part about that movie, and she's pretty decent in the newest Hunger Games movie that came out. So like I really like her as a young star, and I will support her. But this just doesn't look good. The dwarves in CG looked terrible to me. It all looks like it's a live action person in an animated world, and it looks bad to me.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like the movie's going to be bad. I'm just saying like the way it all looks is bad. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely very CG, but like at the same time, the CG almost looks like it's deliberately giving an animation like the same vibes as the animation. It is a lot though, and the dwarves specifically don't look great. The animals I think are a little more forgivable and cute. The dwarves kind of look like shit, and like why not just use people? I don't understand why the dwarves are CG.
And like Gal Gadot looked fine. Like she's probably having fun being the evil queen. Like I'm sure there'll be some interesting stuff there. But yeah, I don't know, man. This has had a lot of production issues. It finished filming a long time ago, and it's been delayed and it's having issues. So I'm nervous for it. But I think we're nearing the end of these live action adaptations of animated movies, and they're going to start transitioning to more of like Mufasa, where you're getting sequels, live action
Unasked
to the
for live
action
action sequels. Yeah.
Sequels or prequels, I should say, to these live action movies, and for better or for worse, because there's nothing about the Mufasa trailer or movie that makes me excited at all.
No, I mean, why would you be? It's stupid. No one cares about Mufasa's story.
The only reason I would be is that it's Barry Jenkins that's directing it, and I love Moonlight, and I also love If Beale Street Could Talk, and those are, now he's getting a check from Disney to make a Mufasa movie. Can't blame the guy. I doubt that this is going to be like, I just can't imagine he's going to have an artistic spin on this in the way that he would a movie like Moonlight or Beale Street.
You can't
this is
blame
just
the
be a Disney
guy
movie.
for taking that money, but at the same time, this is him cashing a
Not
check.
at all.
You know what I mean? Like,
For sure.
And I don't want to see it. Like,
You've earned it, man. Like, take care of your family. That's fine.
Take your money.
No problem.
Take your money. I don't want to see your movie.
Yeah. Let's see. We talked about Skeleton Crew, and we had some different opinions there. Agatha All Along is another one I'm just having trouble getting excited for, except for the fact that I like Aubrey Plaza a lot, and
I
she's
like
in it.
Aubrey
Are you
Plaza.
excited for Agatha All Along?
I think so. So this does a lot of what Skeleton Crew was doing for you for me. It's something different in the Marvel space, and I want that because I've been upset with Marvel for a while, and I want to see something new. Aubrey Plaza is fantastic. People, there was some speculation that she's still her character from Legion. I don't think that's the case, but she killed it in that. I think she's going to kill it in this. And I don't know, the story's interesting. I like that they're going with a musical kind of thing. Like they're doing a Marvel Wizard of Oz kind of thing with all witches, and it's interesting at the very least. It is interesting, and I'll give it a shot for sure, just for its novelty. I don't know if it's going to be good. I even kind of lean towards it not being, but
Right.
it's got my interest, and so
Yeah, that's fair. Totally fair. Fantastic Four First Steps. I think they pretty much showed the same trailer that was shown at San Diego Comic-Con. I continue to be. This is the Marvel movie I'm most excited about currently. I think that everything they're doing for this is right so far. So fingers crossed.
yeah. I mean, I've seen some pictures and whatnot, and it might be good. I just Fantastic Four has a bad track record on camera, but they have such a good cast. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, that's fair. They also brought out the casts of some other Disney Plus show. Ironheart and Daredevil Born Again. Those are coming.
See,
they did some announcements there.
Daredevil was really exciting because last I heard, Deborah Ann Wool was not coming back. She was there, and everyone was there, and I'm like, oh, okay, they're doing it. Like, this is what I want. Daredevil was the gold standard for Marvel television shows, and I feel like it breathed life into Marvel, like, on the screen, man. Like, it really established something of what these shows and characters could be. I feel like it doesn't get it. I don't think it's getting enough credit for that. Like I don't know that we would have half of what we have if they hadn't set the bar so high. And
Yeah.
so I'm excited to see them back at it.
John Bernthal's Punisher back here, worth noting too.
Yes,
That's exciting.
very. I mean, yeah, they're doing the Netflix people are coming, and they were the best. So I'm all in on this. Born Again's probably the most excited I've been for a Marvel property in a while.
Yeah, that is exciting, and I'm hoping that they've put love and care into it. Considering there was that news, I guess it was last year, about them basically scrapping what had been filmed and kind of starting over. And I'm hoping that means they want this to be good, so they're taking it seriously. And now they've greenlit a second season, and like they're seemingly high on this right now.
They
so
must like
hopefully
what
that
they
means
saw, so that's
good
exciting.
things.
Yeah.
Let's see. Avatar 3 is now called Avatar Fire and Ash. I'm the Avatar head here. I'm the big Avatar fan, and the concept art they showed for this, that showed essentially like the fire tribe of Na'vi, looked awesome to me. Like,
Yeah.
incredible. I don't know if you've seen that art out there. It
No.
looks really cool.
It looks cool, and I'm willing to give Avatar another chance. I got out of it for political reasons. I'm getting back into it for journalistic reasons, and I'm gonna check it out, regardless of my feelings about certain people involved. But I want to watch this, and I want to review it. So, I'm gonna go into this. I'm gonna check it out.
They brought out Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan for Freakier Friday. I didn't see the Freaky Friday movie that they were in.
Oh, bro, I've seen the Freaky Friday movie they were in like 30 times.
That's hilarious.
I've seen it a lot.
That's awesome.
That was one of my.
Go see the sequel?
I don't know, man. I don't think it's going to be any good. I think the other one was just a guilty pleasure. But I don't know.
They did. They showed a little bit from, or they teased Tron Ares, new Tron movie. That Jeff Bridges is going to be back, and it's got Jared Leto is in it and plays the Ares character. I believe this one's about like an AI coming out into the real world from the Tron universe, and they also revealed, obviously, we had Daft Punk did that was a big deal. They did the soundtrack for Tron Legacy,
Yes,
the last
sir.
Tron movie.
And now
they're
Nine Inch
retired
Nails,
now, right?
baby.
Yeah. So I had somebody explain this to me the other day because I'm like, well, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross do scores for movies all the time. Like, what's the difference? But I was informed there's a difference.
Oh, of course there's a difference. Nine Inch Nails, they go hard, bro. Like I don't know, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, they're gonna have a vibe. They're gonna give a vibe to a movie. They're gonna have some of that sound. But Nine Inch Nails is they're gonna fuck.
They're gonna bring the metal.
They're gonna fuck, man. Like
Right.
they're here for that butt. Yeah, Tron. I actually got excited for Tron Ares. I'm not a Tron guy. I haven't been impressed with what I've seen in the past, but this seems pretty cool. And Jared Leto's leaning into his strengths by playing a emotionless piece of shit that no one likes. So that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, that's the thing. I'm with you. Like, I'm not a big Jared Leto fan. A lot of times his name's attached to something that makes me go, ugh. But, like, him as an AI in a Tron movie, I'm like, yeah, that's kind of like what I want to see Jared Leto with.
Yeah, I liked him in Blade Runner. You know, he was pretty good in that.
Yeah.
He's good sometimes.
Smaller part, too.
Yeah, it was a small part. That probably helped digest what he is, but yeah.
Now is where I'm going to go really quickly and do some bullet points, all right?
Cool.
Dwayne Johnson's there. He's doing a Monster Jam movie, Monster Truck movie.
Don't know why.
Okay.
Whatever.
Right? Pixar's first ever original TV series being the key, because they've got some other TV forays. Like there's one called Dream Productions that's a spin-off of Inside Out. So
yeah, and they have the
about
Monster
literally the
Inc.
production of
one
Dreams.
and all that stuff, yeah.
We touched on Elio. Hoppers was another original Pixar movie that they announced that'll have John Hamm, Bobby Moynihan, and it looks like it's Mabel, a young girl who transfers her consciousness into a robot beaver in order to learn more about the world of animals. So that's the log line for this one.
For which one? Hopper?
Hopper.
Oh my
That's what
god,
it's called.
that's cool.
That's right. I forgot you like games and things involving beavers, as we've discussed on the show. So I guess any kind of rodent-like mammal, Jahan's in.
All in.
We discussed Mufasa, Fernt, Ironheart, Andor season 2. They teased, and Ben Mendelsohn will be back. Let's see, The Mandalorian and Grogu. They did a little bit more about that. I don't know if you care at all about Percy Jackson and the Olympians season 2. I personally don't, but
Not
that's the thing
really.
that people are going to get. That's all the kind of the big stuff from the entertainment part of it, the movies and everything. There are a couple quick things regarding the animation side. They did some announcements regarding the Marvel Zombies show. It's going to be a 4-episode animated show. Let's see. It's
What? When is that happening? I know it's happening. I just didn't know when.
Let's see. I'm looking at. I don't know if they gave it a date yet,
Those
but
bastards.
it does say, from looking at IGN, from them talking about the presentation, they said attendees got an exclusive look at the 4-episode show that reveals a moment where Shang-Chi, Katie, and Zhu Wenwu find themselves overrun by a horde of zombies. A time jump then sends the story 5 years into the future, revealing a Mad Max-like world that was unable to survive the apocalypse.
It says the thing I found says no later than 2026. So that's pretty vague. But
Oh, goodness. Okay. I know that they also teased What If Season 3 and said I think that will be the last season of What If.
they can stop. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
And I know they've got a couple seasons planned for X-Men 97. The thing that I'm actually the most excited about from the animation panel is the Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man show. Did you see the art from this?
No, but I shall look at it.
They're going with like a Steve Ditko inspired like 60s comic book style. So the characters look literally from the page of the 60s comic books, but there's modern characters in it. So you're getting like anti-venom suits, but in this, 60s Ditko comic book style.
Oh boy, that looks good.
Yeah, I think it looks really awesome. They did announce that Coleman Domingo is going to be voicing Norman Osborn, but that in this show, Norman Osborn's taking on kind of like a Tony Stark-esque mentorship role to Spider-Man's Peter Parker character. So that sounds really interesting. It just sounds like they're going to be taking some liberties with the storytelling, but with this cool art style. This is the type of stuff I want to see from Disney Animation on Disney+.
I was surprised that anything could beat 97 for you when it comes to excitement, but now I see what you're talking about. This looks really cool. Yeah, dude, I love animation. I'm a big old cartoon nerd. This looks good. I'm excited too now. I hadn't heard about this.
Yeah,
you telling me right now is really the first I heard.
Yep. So there you have it. I think those are all kind of the big D23 announcements I wanted to go through. Of course, if there's anything else that we didn't talk about that you're mad at us for not talking about, reach out to John on social media. Go to at RockFact and tell him why you're upset with him. That's what I would recommend, at least.
Please do. I'd love to hear about how upset you are with me.
Yeah, so that's D23 news and updates. There's some exciting things in there, but also just a lot of stuff. It's like stuff that when they announce stuff, it's August of 2024, right? When you start announcing stuff that's coming out in 2027 is when I'm like, I hope I'm alive in 2027.
Yeah, this could have been an email kind of thing. Yeah, we don't need to hear about it. Yeah. I feel you, man. Yeah, we could all be dead. I don't know. Honestly,
fresh movies. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Honestly, I was excited about more of it than I thought I was initially after talking about it. I think there's some good stuff here. It was actually a solid showcase, so that's good.
Yeah, I think it definitely was solid. I think there is a very cynical stance you can take with Disney stuff, and I brought that line a little bit, but I don't dip my toe fully over the line. I just kind of dabble.
Yeah.
Dabble in cynicism. Fresh movies of the week. I unfortunately did not get to go see Borderlands, and
from what
it sounds like nobody on the planet really did.
You mean the biggest bomb in cinema history?
I don't know if it's the biggest bomb in cinema history yet. I think that title still goes to John Carter as of now, because we have to see where this box office run goes. But this movie making $8.8 billion, it wishes it made $8.8 billion, $8.8 million at the box office its opening weekend when it was on a $115 million budget. And that's not even including the marketing and advertising costs that are estimated to be over $30 million.
Jesus.
Typically, other movies that have opened this year to about $8 million only go on to make about $20 million total, at least domestically. So, yeah, this one's going to be a huge bomb. It's definitely going to be the biggest bomb of this year. It could definitely be one of the biggest bombs of all time. And the reviews have just been
Rotten Tomatoes
annihilating it.
Gave it a 0.
Yeah. It's a rough go.
It doesn't get... That's impressive. I called this one. I would like to say this movie looked like shit from the very first look, and it never got better for me, so I'm vindicated. Because I've had some people push back on me.
I saw Madam Web in theaters twice.
Yeah.
I saw it twice in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
And that movie was terrible.
It was so bad.
And I haven't even been able to bring myself to see Borderlands once. So what does that say?
That's fair. Dude, Madam Web, what a piece of shit. It's on Netflix right now. Maybe I should watch it again, see if it gets any better.
You shouldn't, and it won't.
I see better than I ever have.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Her web does indeed connect us all.
Oh my god.
It doesn't really connect, however, to The Instigators, which is a movie that I did watch. This is a movie that is now streaming on Apple TV Plus. So this is an Apple TV Plus original film. It stars Matt Damon and Casey Affleck.
Okay.
And it's directed by Doug Liman. Doug Liman, really interesting director to me because he directed a few movies that I would say are some of my favorites ever. I absolutely love Swingers from 1996, starring Jon Favreau and Vince Vaughn. I also love Edge of Tomorrow, the Tom Cruise Groundhog Day alien invasion movie.
That
Great
movie
movies.
was surprisingly very good. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Solid sci-fi.
those are both directed by Doug Liman. However, Doug Liman's got very, very a lot of ups and downs, hits and misses here. Because for every Swingers and Edge of Tomorrow, you get a Chaos Walking or Jumper. Or, I don't know what your feelings are on Mr. and Mrs. Smith. If you're a fan of that movie, he did do the Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
It was fine.
He did the first Born Identity. Yeah, he did do the first Born Identity movie, which kicked off a big franchise, and so he's worked with Matt Damon before. So
First Born Identity is solid.
Yeah. Lyman's just one of those directors who kind of has a lifetime pass for me with the movies that he's directed that I love, but he's also done a lot of stinkers. The most recent movie he directed before The Instigators was actually the Jake Gyllenhaal Roadhouse movie that came out on Prime Video earlier this year that I actually didn't mind that much, although I didn't like the Conor McGregor parts of it, but there was still some fun stuff in that movie. Anyways, The Instigators is his newest movie. It involves Casey Affleck and Matt Damon basically having to do a heist, committing crimes, doing a job that goes wrong. Naturally, that's it's as simple as that. And there's bits of this movie that are kind of forgettable, but I also thought it was kind of fine for what it was. It was a good Friday night movie at home. Prime thing to flip on with big movie stars, a decent budget, some okay action, some comedy, but it's not really doing anything new or original here. And it's a Boston movie. Naturally, it's from Matt Damon and Ben Affleck's production company, and but starring Matt and Casey.
Matt Damon's such a good
Boston
actor.
Crime movie.
He can only ever be from Boston. That's how good of an actor he is.
Indeed. Isn't it crazy that Matt Damon has not... Well, he has won an Oscar, technically. He has not won an acting Oscar, but yet Casey Affleck has. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. But then you see The Wall, the Great Wall movie.
I have not seen The Wall.
And then you're like, oh, okay, maybe he shouldn't have one.
Fair. Ron Perlman's in this movie. He plays the mayor of Boston, and man, he's looking rough in this movie.
He's old, man.
He is, and yeah, he was looking rough. Some other good actors I like are in this movie. Alfred Molina's in this movie in a small part. Ving Rhames is in this movie. Michael Stuhlbarg, Paul Walter Hauser, Hong Chow is in this, and she's really good. There's some good people in this movie, but it's just it's a little crime movie that they put on Apple TV Plus. So
sometimes
go check it out. If
sometimes
you're
those
interested.
are
I thought
fun.
it was fine.
Yeah, I bet my dad would love that shit.
I watched another movie, an older movie. It's from 2009, called Taking Woodstock, directed by Ang Lee. Have you seen this movie?
No.
Stars Dimitri Martin. This was back when Dimitri Martin was in that. He was kind of peaking, I guess, popularity, and then he was the star of this movie. And it also has, let's see, who else is in this? Jonathan Groff, Emile Hirsch, Eugene Levy is in it, Imelda Staunton, Liev Schreiber. Liev Schreiber in this movie. Anyways, this is about It's based on a true story. This guy who lives in like this small town of Bethel, New York, and essentially the Woodstock festival that's being music festival that's being planned gets pushed out of where they were supposed to be, and so they decided to have it in this small town Bethel that's like this small farm town in New York, and then thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of people come to this town for this big music festival, and it's all about them trying to set it up and what goes wrong and what goes right and that kind of thing. And like, to me, that sounded like a really fun premise for a movie and a big cast, and Ang Lee, a director that I really like. I hadn't seen this before, and unfortunately it's just not very fun at all. Like, it's kind of amazing that a movie like this that should have been fun, very fun premise on paper, and it just really fails to be. So it's just too bad. There's some interesting ideas in it, but there's the comedy doesn't really play. I don't know. It just doesn't quite work, which is too bad because I like Ang Lee a lot.
That is too bad. Speaking of
That's taking
fun
taking
movies,
Woodstock. That's it.
speaking of fun movies, I watched an older movie too. I thought it was new. I had never heard of this before, but it's on Netflix. It just came out on Netflix. How to Be a Latin Lover. This is starring Selma Hayek, and then some other guy that, what's his name? Eugenio Derbez, who I don't know who that is. It's got Rob Lowe, Kristen Bell.
He's actually in a movie that I have championed on this podcast a lot. If you've seen Coda, the movie that won Best Picture at the Oscars just a couple years ago about the child of deaf adults, the aspiring singer, he plays her teacher. He plays like her music teacher in school in that movie.
He's a really good actor. This is a comedy. It's a PG-13 comedy starring Selma Hayek and Eugenio Derbez. It's got Rob Lowe, Kristen Bell, Rob Corddry, what's his name? Rob Riggle's in this. Like, a lot of good names. Michael Cera makes an appearance. Some pretty solid cast. I wasn't expecting this to be as good. Like, this is just something that was put on, and I started watching it, and I was laughing my ass off. Many times I was belly laughing. Like, it's not necessarily funny the entire time nonstop, but it is. I had some big laughs during this movie. It's about so in the beginning of the movie, the Salma Hayek and Eugenio Derbez, Maximo and Sarah are their names. They're brother sister. When they're children, their father dies because he works too hard, essentially. And Maximo promises that's not going to be him. And his sister's like, you get what you work for. And he's like, no, I want her job. And he points to like a trophy wife on a magazine cover. And so his whole goal in life is to marry a rich woman, preferably older, and to never work a day in his life. And so he just becomes this man whore that seduces like a much older woman, and he becomes her trophy husband. And then they fast forward to he's older, stuff happens, she leaves him, he has nothing, and he's trying to get another old woman to take care of him. Meanwhile, he has to rely on his sister and her son, who he's never met, and that he turned his back on for their whole lives. I don't know. It's a really interesting story. It's really funny. A lot of the characters, there's a lot of humor in this. There's some pretty raunchy moments in it for a PG-13 movie, but I absolutely think this is hilarious. You should check it out. How to Be a Latin Lover on Netflix. Worth watching for sure. I don't know. You haven't seen this, huh?
I have not seen this. I'm aware of the movie, but I've not seen it. But as the part of this discussion, I just pulled up Eugenio Derbez's filmography, and what's interesting is that he has done a lot of Spanish, Latin American voiceovers for English movies, like done the voiceover for the Spanish version that was distributed, and some of the characters that he's played for Spanish releases of movies. First off, if it's an Eddie Murphy animated character, it's him. Like, he did all the Shrek movies. He played Donkey, the Spanish Latin American release version. He voiced Mushu in Mulan in the Latin American version.
So he's
Let's
just
see.
Latin Charlie or Eddie Murphy.
Apparently so.
That's pretty funny.
Those are kind of. It seems like he was only doing, Spanish movies at that time, and now he has dabbled and does some English language movies as well as we've mentioned. But I just thought that was a. He also did the most recent the Illumination Grinch movie. He was the voice of the Grinch in the Latin American release. So.
He's a funny guy. I can see how that happened, and I don't know. I liked him a lot. I thought he was a good actor. I'd like to see more of him. I don't know why, but in this movie, for whatever reason, I couldn't shake that he looks so much like Billy Bob Thornton. It blew my mind. Like I was like,
interesting. Yeah,
I was like, stop doing that. Like you're just Latino Billy Bob Thornton. It kind of blew my mind the whole time. I kind of thought it was him for a minute. Like every now and again, I'm like, is that just him? Like, is he just doing a thing? But yeah, solid movie. Absolutely recommend it. I thought it was really funny. It's on Netflix.
Very nice. Well, moving on to some fresh TV of the week, and I only have one thing here, and it is on Max streaming service, and it is the current season of Hard Knocks training camp with Chicago Bears. And I'm a big Hard Knocks fan. If you don't know what Hard Knocks is, it is it's actually expanded. Hard Knocks used to be just every year during NFL training camps, they would follow a team, an NFL team throughout their training camp experience. So, training camp only lasts a few weeks. So typically a season of Hard Knocks is only about 5 episodes because they just detail a team and what they go through during training camp. Hard Knocks has now expanded where they have an in-season version of Hard Knocks where they follow a team for a few weeks in the middle of the actual NFL season, and they also just debuted this year like an off-season version of Hard Knocks where they followed the Giants during their off-season. But this is the bread and butter. What I'm talking about now is Hard Knocks training camp, and the team they're following this year is the Chicago Bears, who just had the number 1 overall draft pick in the NFL draft this year and drafted quarterback Caleb Williams. So a lot of this first episode of Hard Knocks was about Caleb Williams and his being drafted and his integration into the Bears organization, how much weight is kind of on his shoulders to be the face of the franchise moving forward and so on and so forth. But I tried to watch the Giants off-season version of Hard Knocks that came out several weeks ago, and I just found it hard to get into because it's all like the behind-the-scenes office work of the NFL, which is interesting in theory. It's only so interesting in execution. That season mostly focused on the Saquon Barkley trade and what was happening there, his free agency, I should say. But this proves Hard Knocks training camp proves that the players are the bread and butter of this show, and getting to see the players and what they talk about, what they do, and the narratives the producers of the show create. The editing in Hard Knocks is always top of the line. It's incredible. So I recommend it. Jahan, even if you're not a football fan, I feel like you could watch Hard Knocks and find something to enjoy just from like a documentary standpoint. So
Yeah, I don't follow
Anyways,
football. I'm not a big fan, but I'll watch it when it's on, and I don't mind it. So maybe I don't know.
yeah.
Maybe.
So that's it. That's Hard Knocks. That was the only fresh TV show I had this week. Did you have any fresh TV you wanted to add on?
The only thing that I've been really seeing is the Olympics. Did you catch that Australian breakdancer?
I did not. I didn't. I saw some of the viral tweets and things about
Oh my
the
god!
breakdancing, but I did not get to watch any of it.
It was pretty funny, and like I don't know, people are defending her now and stuff, and it's like, no, she was terrible. Like, what are you doing? But it is what it is. It was pretty funny.
I would say I probably watched more Olympics coverage this year than I probably ever have before.
Same. Maybe we're just getting old.
I think. Yeah, and I think accessibility also, like the fact that now you can watch, they've got Peacock, and Peacock even changed their logo on my Apple TV to have the Olympic rings on it because that's where all the Olympic coverage was. So like you could watch it on streaming, you could watch it on TV, you can watch it on your phone, you can watch it on social media. Like, I don't know, I just feel like it's everywhere. And the last Summer Olympics got delayed due to COVID, and happened in 2021, and even then I just feel like I barely watched any of it. This year I watched a lot. I kind of enjoyed catching it here and there. I got really into the track and field stuff.
Yeah, track and field stuff was really interesting this year. I always like the gymnastics. Our team's the best, so it's always exciting to watch them. And just a lot of really good moments this year. I don't know. There's a lot of international friendship things, like things seem less toxic, and like people more wanted to like be like, oh, like there was the people from South Korea took pictures with North Korean athletes. Like it was wild, man. Like, and I don't know, it was an interesting thing to see this year for sure.
Speaking of Olympics and Simone Biles and everything, going back to Hard Knocks for a second here,
Go for it.
It's always kind of amazing how Hard Knocks and whatever team they happen to be focusing on that year, how they managed to kind of transition the show or really like intersect with pop culture. And it just so happens, they're following the Chicago Bears this season, and Simone Biles' husband, Jonathan Owens, a former Houston Texans player, which is how they met because he played for Houston. He now plays for the Bears, so he is at training camp. So they did have a bit of him and how he left that first week of training camp so that he could go to Paris and support his wife and support Simone. And then they have bits of him where he's FaceTiming with her and whatnot. So it's kind of amazing how even in Hard Knocks, like they're able to bring in the Olympic side of it, since it's all kind of live and actively ongoing, the show. But yeah, the fact that they happen to have Simone Biles' husband on this season of Hard Knocks because they're following the Bears is interesting, and they were able to get that Olympics bump in that first episode too.
Yeah, that is interesting. She's a hell of a lady, man. It's crazy. But
I guess that's it for Fresh TV.
That's it for Fresh TV. And
I'm the only one that has something listed under Fresh Games, unless you have something that you're holding back from me.
no, I mean, there's some cool stuff coming out on Game Pass. They just dropped the Mafia Definitive Edition, which I'm excited to check out. And I've been playing a lot of Batman, Arkham City, and there's, I don't know, a lot of games like that are like coming but aren't here yet. So I've been playing the same stuff. Nothing new, but still having a good time. So
good. Yeah, I did mention last week I played the Final Fantasy VII Remake DLC to prep for playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I am now fully invested in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It's why I don't have much TV or movies to talk about, because for once I've like fully given myself over to this game. Like pretty much if I'm not working and not parenting, I'm playing this game. Or not podcasting, I should say also. I'm playing this game. It just scratches every itch for me as a gamer. I feel like the combat is really good. The graphics and looks of the game are incredible. The all-around gameplay moment to moment, even when you're not in combat, is fun. There's a huge open world and tons of things to do. And even if some of those things that you're doing in the open world aren't particularly fun or interesting, it's like just the gameplay and the feel of the game is so good that you don't really care. Like you just like going from place to place and seeing what they have in store. I will see how I feel about it in more hours. I've probably put like close to 20 hours into the game so far, and I've barely even scratched the surface. So we'll see how I feel when I'm like 50 hours into it. I am just absolutely digging my time with it, which transitions straight into fresh picks of the week because it's my fresh pick of the week. I've been playing this all the time. I can't not have this as my fresh pick of the week. It would be unfair to myself to choose anything else because of how much time I've been dedicating to this in the past week.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair, and I know you're a big fan of Final Fantasy, so it's cool that this is going on. I'm in the same situation. All I've been doing in my spare time is playing Batman Arkham City, so like I'm caught up in the same thing. But hey, at least we both have games that we both like, and yeah, it's absolutely good stuff. I feel good about that. How about you? I enjoyed that talk. D23 had a lot of exciting things, and I look forward to actually seeing and talking about them here on the pod. So.
We did. I feel like we talked about it the perfect amount, where we kind of were able to mention everything, but didn't have to go into details about the things we didn't care about, and got to talk about the things we did. So I feel like it was a perfect balance.
And I agree. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of the Fresh Out the Podcast family. I have been the Board Game Guru, Game Master Extraordinaire, Johananan. If you like me and listening to me talk and do things, and you want to see me play games and run games, feel free to check out Fresh Out the Box, the TTRPG channel that we have, YouTube, backlog, all that good stuff. So check it out.
And I am the professional media and movie mastermind, the Funhouse, Drew Munhausen. You can find me at Drew Munhausen on all the different social media platforms. I always like to plug Letterboxd because that's where I'm usually over logging what movies I've been watching. As of right now, it's been a little bit quieter over there, but I'm looking forward to seeing Alien Romulus comes out this weekend, so that'll be logged soon. I plan to see Alien. How about you, John?
I'm very excited for
distracted.
I'm very excited for Alien Romulus as well. So yeah, everyone, thanks for listening. Stay fresh. See you next time.